Very nice to see you again, Adam.
Yeah, thank you,
Excited
Dan.
about today.
Me too. Thanks for driving all the way out here again.
One thought that I had, I know you're familiar with the legal setup, so do you have an LLC already?
I do.
All right, perfect. So that's probably one thing that would get set up.
And yeah, it'd be fine for the first property, right? But as you get more properties, I know some folks who may have multiple LLCs to kind of spread out the risk, right?
And honestly, based on the conversation that we had at the coffee shop, as we move forward in our discussions, I'd probably like to learn more about that from you. I think that you have a better understanding on that than me.
Yeah, PACE has a whole corporate structure semester, they call it. It's like a couple hours worth of videos on just that topic. So I'll be sure to watch those and share them with you and
Yeah, for sure.
see what we can do.
To recap on the stuff that happened last time, have you found a new groove with your financial situation, and have you put thought into when you might start the mailing campaign?
So the financial situation is definitely going in the right direction, but it's not to the point yet where I am going to fire off a marketing campaign. I definitely want leads that come in, and when a deal is found, to be able to act on it.
Yeah,
and not just
for sure
sit on it.
100%.
That being said, if you were looking for similar properties, I would be okay doing it anyway, and then bring one to you. But for taking one down myself, I need a little bit more time to get things structured.
Well, and as I mentioned to you before, I'm marketing in those areas, some of the areas anyways, and I'm sure there's more deals from the marketing that I'm doing that I'm not capitalizing on. So as we have these conversations, any that fit your description, I'll bring them to you anyways.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we'll let it run with that, and as we get more concrete, we'll step into that in the future.
Makes sense? Yeah, sounds good.
All right, perfect. So I thought that we can kind of go over the way that my current system is right now, and then try to get the actual numbers. Because I'm doing the BRRRR method, and you'll hear like you want 70% of the ARV, so that way you can refinance out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, it's more than just the purchase price and then the rehab. There's also extra costs in it. So we can kind of, and this is for me as well, not something I've even analyzed enough, but I think I have the information that we can go through it right now, and it'll help me be more concrete in my business and make better decisions, and then we can work through it together.
Yeah, so we want 70% of ARV minus rehab costs, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes a little extra for holding costs.
Exactly.
We're still going to have taxes, insurance, utilities, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So
I was hoping that, so this is the CRM that I have through Ballpoint Marketing. I unfortunately deleted the one for the deal that I'm going to go over right now because we just closed on it. But so far I've closing on the fourth deal through Ballpoint Marketing. So there was 3 mailing batches, which was $2,500 each. So $7,500 divided by the 4 deals that we closed, which is going to be less than 2,500 because that's 3, like 1,800 or so.
That's your marketing spend per deal?
Yeah, so far. And that number might be a little bit off, but it's pretty close. So around $1,800 for the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this deal was
Is it a multifamily?
Yeah, a duplex.
Oh, nice.
And this was, if I can continue to do what happened with this one, then I will have a very successful business. Most of them were not so lucrative. And actually the funny thing was that the deal turned out really well financially, but the person who sold it to me, his father lives next door still. and they didn't like the tenants that I moved in. And although it worked out really well financially and not that much labor, this guy is now really mad at me. For their own preferences, I ran them through their background checks and everything's fine in that way, but he doesn't like the people who moved in. So although I thought this was going to be like super easy, just to say that even when you think everything is going right, nothing is ever easy. But all that being said,
that's interesting.
To run through the numbers. So perhaps take it from here first. This isn't the exact deal, but I sent out the mailers. The people will call. This is another one that I'm closing on, so this will give you an idea of something that kind of to walk you through the process of how I would handle the situation.
Yeah, so you do your marketing, your lead comes in, you have to underwrite it, right, to see where you're going to be on an offer, and your exit strategy is it's a long-term rental, right, the BRRRR method.
In worst case scenario, then if the BRRRR method works, it will also work if I had to sell it. Because if I'm 30% below, then I know that I can take a huge loss on the sale and still at least pay all my lenders back and everything. So that's how I do for my safety nets, for my exit strategies.
Yeah, have at least 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes 3.
The more the better, and as we get more sophisticated, especially if I'm learning from Pace, he's got like pad split and midterm rental and all these things. And as I get more sophisticated, I would definitely like to have more ways to handle it. And a lot of them are even more lucrative if you have the systems in place and things like that.
They are. A long-term rental is going to be like the baseline. If your cash flow is a long-term rental, then there are good chances that the other short-term, mid-term rental, and a flip are going to be profitable as well.
Yeah, exactly. So a nice safe place to start with that. So the call comes in. Oops. Then they record the first call. This gentleman was a 9-minute call. The postcard goes out. You've seen the postcard before. Once they get it, it has a phone number on there. The phone number leads to a call center. And that number is linked to my account. So they answer the phone, Baltic Star Rentals. They act as if it was my secretary, because the seller doesn't need to know all the stuff that's going on in the background. But for all intents and purposes, they are my secretaries. They take the call, they ask some questions. The age of the roof, the condition of the property, do you owe a mortgage on it? And they always ask them, do you have a price in mind? And like for the duplex that we're going to go over in a moment, he actually just told me he's willing to sell it for $80,000, which then, so at that point I get they put all this information in the CRM. So then that's after the marketing, this is where my part comes in. So I open up the CRM, I have the first call for a record. So when I touch base with them, I don't ask them all the same questions. I can lead right into the conversation with the information that I already have. And they also have this quick link to Zillow. And again, I already deleted that one because I didn't anticipate going over this. So this was another deal that I'm going to close on, which we can talk about in a little bit. But so let's just say it was a duplex. I'm going to pull it open. I see a duplex in Marseilles. I see what the estimate is, which isn't perfect, but I'm also a realtor as well. So I'm going to run this stuff. I'm going to run my own comps, but this just gives me really quick information of like, am I even interested in going further with this conversation? And some stuff might be like, I remember one of the notes in here was like, hey, I'm just trying to get a feel if he's one of these people who is going to offer me a lower price. This person clearly does not want to deal with that and they want to get the highest prices. Or they'll like, maybe it's an expired listing and they're like, I wanted to put it out there, but nobody would come up to the price. So as I learn more, I think there's probably different ways to deal with these people. But my business isn't moving that quickly. And there is some leads that are going in right away that are just like, for example, with the duplex, he said 80,000. So I pulled it open. I seen 2 duplexes in Marseilles that recently sold for 180 and 170. And everything that he said, he was like, the windows were recently replaced. Based on everything that he said, I was like, oh my God, this is a deal. I'm not even going to negotiate on the price. But then, so it was enough for me to go to the house and do a walkthrough. And it was hard. I couldn't believe that he wanted to sell it to me for that price. So what's going on? His father has dementia. He's getting on in age. His wife passed away. And it's, after going through it, there was some termite damage and some other things. None of the kids wanted the property. So it's just sitting there and it's going to fall apart. And he wanted money to redo his driveway. And also nobody else wants to deal with it. So if they're not willing to put the work into it to deal with the tenants or to do something like that, then it's not going to continue to be valuable over time, and you just wanted it gone. So at this point now, there's been 4 houses, and each time I didn't really negotiate with them because they gave me a good enough price, which is kind of blowing my mind from the way that I've done it previously.
Yeah.
So I came in, I listened to the call, I pulled it up on Zillow, and I was like, I really want to meet this guy. I call him back, like, hey, you received a postcard from me a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to touch base with you, get some more information, see if I could meet up with you. Drove to the house, walked the duplex. I had already run my comps. I'm like, definitely 80,000. I don't even want to negotiate with you. And for with the lower prices, I also offer to pay the closing costs, which is basically the additional cost would be the price for the title company, which is like a couple $1,000.
I know. So yeah, I was going to ask that. What are closing costs? It's a percentage of purchase price typically, right?
I can't even remember, but I have the Alta statement, so we'll actually go over that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we agree on it. From here, it's a little bit different because usually we go back and forth with the realtors, but I sent him the contract to sign. He sent it to his attorney to just have it looked over, and then basically our attorneys just navigate the transaction. So I'm always going to use mine to look over my stuff, and he just happened to have a real estate attorney handy. So they sent him off, the title company took care of the rest of it. So his costs were his attorney and the taxes and arrears.
Oh, it had arrears on it?
Not like back taxes, but because they pay them a year or 6 months behind. Like all the taxes that you pay are from last year. So typically they will catch that up.
Oh, you paid off the prorated?
Yeah.
So you did not prorate taxes, and you paid for the...
Those were his only costs.
Okay.
He paid for the prorating taxes.
Okay.
And his attorney fee, so that was his cost. And then the rest of what I agreed to went directly to him. And then from that point, I handled title, my attorney, and then all the ancillary costs that come with the actual rehab. So then...
Did you happen to meet your attorney when you were working at Skydive Chicago?
I didn't. The first house I bought, my realtor introduced me to him. And then since then, I've just always gone back to him, and we've built a relationship.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
So then this particular house was $80,000. Let's see, to the seller debit, that's where his taxes from before, the county taxes, this is like the sales tax. So that's what's his taxes in arrear, that's what's his sales tax, so that was all his prices. And then for me, I paid the $1,000 earnest money, and then a friend of mine, which is the private money lender, this is the person who always does first position, so he paid $75,000, and I paid the rest, which was that got credited to me. Oh yeah, that's all the stuff that was credited. So that's all that came out from there. Then the title commitment was $175, 25 there. Then it's basically all title costs, but let's add this up at the bottom. So the attorney's $500, and this was all title stuff. Which usually some of this is split in between the two of you, but I took all of that out. So I'm not sure which is usual. So $1,200, $1,300, $1,500, under $2,000
for the title.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put in 2. We're gonna round up a little bit just to.
And when I do my estimating, I always try to round up because you're always wrong somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, I have a buffer built in.
So $2,000 for closing costs, $1,800 marketing fee, $500 for the attorney, $89,000 purchase price.
So altogether, it looks like you're a little bit below 89,000.
Perfect.
All in. I mean, if we rounded marketing up to $2,000, it'd be 89,000.
Yeah, we'll go with that. All right, 89,000, and that's to purchase the property, from marketing all the way to everybody that I have to pay off to close the deal.
And not just a property, a duplex.
Duplex. Yeah.
In sounds like decent condition.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for
And
sure.
and I think it's a great market that you're in right now too.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal.
If I can, I'm trying to replicate this. If I could replicate this, my life will be great. And right before I started the postcards, I was buying everything from the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that I was seeing was, we were doing even a property all the way down to the studs. And to do that, you need like skilled workers.
Yeah.
Like people need to, there's serious stuff going on. Like it can cause problems with the plumbing and the electrical and the HVAC. Like if these things aren't right, like bad things can happen. So you need very high level people able to do it. But if I can do the way that this turned out, then I can pay somebody less money or like get them better bonuses. We're getting through the properties quicker and you don't need the same amount of skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to oversee it so much. I could just put like just maybe a handyman guy. They're just replacing woodwork or things like that. It's not these specialty stuff.
The trade stuff, HVAC, electric, plumbing.
Yeah, exactly. So we purchased the property. Then my interest rate for the property for the hard money loan is $650 a month. And for this, we turned it over in
$650?
$650 interest only payments.
Interest only on
The hard money loan,
which was the 75?
$75,000, and the rest of the money I brought to the closing table. So
Interest only. What is the rate on that?
10%.
10%?
Over.
Yeah, I think that's fair for a first position from what I've been learning.
And honestly, I met him through Skydive Chicago, and he's not even doing the business anymore. He just has rental properties, and he's like exploring his life and like going around like doing cool stuff. And he's been trying to tell me about this for years. And then at one point I took action, and he was always there to guide me with advice. And I think he was just so happy that somebody listened to him that he's just trying to help me. And I'm super grateful for him.
His money's making money for him, and you guys, sounds like you have a good relationship.
Yeah, it's a win-win because he has rental properties. He makes more on this than some of his rentals, and there's no headache. Like we talked about in the first time, it's like my brand is kind of what's propelling people to want to help me, and he knows that I'm gonna get the job done. So for him, it's very stress-free. He's known me for a long time. He's seen me handle a lot of different things, and he knows he's gonna get his money every month. So
what's the term on that loan? 10% for
6 months.
6 months. And you refinance out with a DSCR or?
Yeah. And if I don't refinance out at the 6 months, then I start paying interest plus principal payments.
Yeah.
On the 7th month is my deal with him.
That's an awesome deal.
Yeah, I can't stress enough. I certainly have put the work in, but so many people are helping me. This is by no means am I a one man.
Nobody is. Even like Jeff Bezos owns a minuscule percentage of, and so.
I think Bill Gates would be a trillionaire if he owned all of Microsoft.
Yeah, nobody owns the entire company. I mean, does without help, right?
Yeah, for sure. So then get the contract under, get the property purchased. We're ready to start work on it. At this stage in my business, I have to have properties bought before I'm ready to work on them, because I have a full-time staff, so they can't, if they don't have work to do, I have to pay them. So I have to buy properties ahead of time, finish this project, walk right into the next project. And hopefully I can plan that well. So there's sometimes some overlay with that. I was working on a different project that was a much more extensive rehab. But this property, I knew that I could do in a couple weeks. So we took the guys off the project I was working to fix this property to get money coming in because I had to pay the interest on this, if that makes sense. The other property that I was already working on, I had to keep for 6 months to refinance anyways. So I wasn't really losing anything because it was only 2 weeks over here to get money coming in, and this project was going to take a long time to finish anyways.
Yeah, see,
like as I'm moving forward, sometimes you have to adjust. Like what is going to cost me the least amount of money, and what's the most effective use of my time right now? And this project was going to take a couple more months, and this one was going to take 2 weeks. So once we got it closed, we took the guys off that, got the materials ordered, and started working on this one.
Then 2 weeks, then you got renters in there quickly.
Yeah, and then back to
now it's paying off its own debt. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So by the time that this property refinances, which I'm nearly going to close on now, the rent from the renters will have covered all of the interest and then some. So as far as interest goes, I'm positive from the getting the rental income, if that makes sense.
So it's a cash flowing property right now.
Yeah.
A positively cash flowing property. Now, when you go to refinance out the DSCR loan, what do your monthly payments look like on that typically?
We'll break down that sheet as well.
Cool.
So then this was the expenses of what went into it. We changed the water heaters, the smoke detectors. It was a weird parking situation on the top of the hill with not a lot of room, and it's 2 duplexes. So
yeah, I think I know the property. I know.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We took out the garage door and just made it a carport because it was tight to fit in there, and that's also 2 people. So I was like, I'm just gonna remove this. But as we were removing the garage door, there was actually quite a bit of termite damage anyways. So we pulled out a bit of that lumber, which is where a lot of this cost came from. So pulled out the header in the garage, kind of rebuilt that, and now essentially it's just a carport at the top of the hill.
Yeah, I've lived in this town my whole life. I'm pretty sure I know.
That's awesome. In one room, the kitchen actually had some, it was funny, I didn't notice when we were doing the walkthrough, but I was walking in the kitchen and my foot went through the floor.
Oh, really?
There's a bit of termite damage in there as well. So we pulled up the subfloor in the kitchen, which it was only the back corner. Reboarded the floor, put some new flooring down. So lumber. Water lines, PEX is super cheap.
Yeah.
And because it was just sitting there for so long, some of the lines burst. So we switched out some of those.
So they had it unoccupied?
Yeah.
Okay. Both units?
Yep. Yeah.
I
think just periodically friends and family were staying in there.
Okay.
Because it was never a rental. It was just, I don't know what they were doing with it. It was just costing them money essentially.
Yeah.
And then we did a little bit of a concrete repair on the driveway.
And your guys do all this work?
Yeah, this was an in-house team.
And it's your nephew and then one other guy? 2 guys?
My nephew, my brother is part owner of the company. So me and my brother are the ones who have the knowledge and experience. And then my nephew, we've been training him up. He's remodeled like 4 or 5 houses now at this point. And another friend of the family is now working with us as well. So it's us 4 doing the stuff. And then I will bounce around doing some of the pushing the business forward. And my brother is the lead and the project manager.
Okay. Wow.
And then so yeah, a little bit more plumbing, some gutter repair. Just broke down plumbing quite a bit. That was kind of the majority of it. A dumpster. This was kind of interesting to find out. 30-yard dumpster, where we're getting it from Public Service, is $500. And then also if we get like the 20-yard or the 10-yard, it seems to always come up as $500 too. So we just started getting 30-yard dumpsters because we have trash everywhere. Like, we'll just drive the trash to it and throw it away if we have to from another project.
Yeah, and then as long as you don't exceed they have like a max weight limit, then you get charged per pound or whatever it is over that.
Yeah.
I saw a tip on YouTube, a YouTube short or something. The guy said get a trailer because it's
$65 if you bring it to the dump.
If you go dump it, yeah. So spend money on a trailer and then avoiding questions from people about what you're doing too, if you wanted to.
Yeah, for sure. We want to do everything legit, but we don't want to bring any. We want to just work and be left alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They were stopping in, asking you what, like, the trailer draws a lot less attention, and then the return on investment there.
Yeah.
I got at scale doing a lot of dumpsters with expensive, but sorry.
And no, yeah, for sure. I appreciate. In your I'm learning from you as well. So please chime in as much as possible. From the last conversation we had, I've already implemented stuff that you talked about.
Yeah, it's incredible. We move very quickly on new information.
Yeah, for sure. Trying my best. I'm trying to do that and not ruin my family as well.
Yeah.
it's stressful for everyone around me, but I'm trying to make this happen.
I think you're doing a good job.
So that was the bulk of the stuff. Plumbing, we had to redo water lines, change out both the shower mixing valves had to get switched out because they were old and seized up. We did the flooring, the subfloor in the kitchen, and then put down some roll flooring over that, cheap vinyl, which it looks nice enough and cleans up. We put stove in both units and a fridge in one. Do I have all this stuff? Oh yeah, fridges and the stove, so it's $2,000.
Are you getting stuff new, used, appliances?
We just get everything from Menards and Home Depot, basically.
Okay.
And then if we have to do something quickly, we'll go to Ace Hardware or whatever the nearest in-town store is, but we try to do that as least as possible because it's higher price. And actually the Ottawa Bargain Mart has really good prices on stuff.
Where the old Walmart used to be.
Yeah. But they don't deliver.
No.
Which is the challenge. So if I have to go pick up a fridge, I'll go there. You can get a better quality fridge for cheaper. But if we can just get all of the order done at one time and get it sent to the house, and then we can just work.
I see. Yeah. So it's efficient that way.
Yeah. So even though maybe some of the prices aren't the best always, a lot of times they're pretty good. But it's one delivery fee. All the stuff gets there at one time, and then we can just tackle the project.
Gotcha.
So then with all the stuff in there, and I know I even had the one interest payment in here.
Yeah, I saw it on there. Yeah.
Then we have gas bill, electric bill, which before it was 2 bills before the people moved in, which was for each unit, let's say 150 in gas. The electric bill's super low, you're not really running anything. $50 for the electric bill, and then the water was like $20 in the account. So in between getting it fixed up and getting renters in there, that was all the utility costs we paid. So, and also that makes sense. The one interest payment that I paid, and then the renter was already in there after that. So essentially, with and then I put 3 weeks of work for $7,800, and me and my brother take very low pay, which is how we're getting the labor so cheap until the previous to this, as I mentioned, we were getting worse properties for a worse price and doing more work, and that left us very little room at the end. But if I can implement this, I can raise everybody's pay. But this is kind of I've got a few tests, and it seems to be trending that way, because the way the business works right now, this is not a good business. We don't make enough money. There has to be a way to pay people a good wage to do good work. But we don't care because we're growing the business. But we have if we don't solve this problem, we don't have a business. We might as well not do it.
Yeah.
Which I think we have, and we're doing some tests, and we're getting through some buildings.
That's really just going direct to seller, right?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. And I was thinking getting better at my negotiation, but I didn't negotiate with the guy. This was the price that he told me. So I think that this is going to solve the problem. And I'm pretty confident, and it seems to be that way from all the work that from the next 4 houses that we've bought. That has been trending that way. So then we'll start to pay ourselves a better wage. But right now, with the way that it's structured, that's what I paid out in labor, which I would definitely say is low. So all in from materials and labor right now, $17,000. And then Both units I rent out for $1,250. So
Are they
$2,500.
Are they? I mean, how many beds and baths are?
2 bed, 1 bath each side.
Each side will, okay. 2 by 1, and they're renting for $1,250.
And honestly, I think that price could be a little bit high. I was a little bit skeptical with everything's a new learning experience. With the way the parking was, that was the thing that was stressing me out the most. I was like, this is going to be weird for the people. And then it hadn't even dawned on me, like, they could just do off-street parking. I don't know why I was like, so worried about this little thing. But I also, for the price, and I just want to get them rent quickly, and I don't want turnover and things like that. So it's kind of find the places that you give and take. But I felt very confident that if I put it at $1,250, it would rent quickly, which turned out to be the case.
Okay.
So
that's great because that's covering your interest by almost like double.
Yeah, we're already cash
for 1 unit, right?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, and
it's cash flowing quite well then.
Yeah, we'll go over some deals that weren't as good. This was I'm trying to emulate this everything. This is not exactly how my business runs, and I know that it can run this way, and I'm doing everything I can to make it run like this.
And you've only been doing cash purchases, it seems like, right? Like a hard money loan or something, and not like seller finance or subject to
none of that stuff. But I am trying to learn that.
Yeah, because that will create a lot of opportunity for the folks that are set on a higher price.
Yeah, because all them leads, there's so many that, like, if I had the right tools, I could. There are opportunities. I just not for me because I'm not there yet. But I will be, and there'll be even more. The ad spend will be even more efficient.
Yeah, so 2,000 will be down to 1,000 if you're capitalizing on twice as many opportunities.
Exactly. So got it. Once do the repairs, and then this was something that was a little bit interesting. I probably need to do this a little bit better, but it has been working so far. So we get the units fixed up. I put a lockbox on the door, put them on Zillow, and then when I talk to the people, I just tell them, just go look at the house. I think that opens up the potential for some problems, like vandalism maybe, or like, I need to dial that in more safely, but it has worked. And the other alternative of where I was doing it previously was we drive to the house and most of the people would ghost us. And then both my brother and I are like an hour away.
Yeah, where do you live at again?
I'm in Lyons, Illinois, and which is by Chicago, and Frank's in Aurora.
Yeah, so that's a drive.
Yeah, for both of us. I'll do a little bit of a side story. When I first started this and I'm learning about it, I'm hearing people like, get all of the people to come at one time. Like, it'll show like there's demand for the property, and then some people are gonna ghost you, so at least you're efficient with your time. And I was like, I feel weird about doing that. Like, it's just, I don't want to be salesy. And like, this was prior to being ghosted a couple times. Now I'm like,
whatever, my time's important, guys.
Yeah, like whatever it takes to like all of those things that I felt bad about instantly got destroyed, and I was like, how do I make this efficient? I'm not driving out here anymore.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I think there is ways with like smart locks where you can give them a one-time code that resets and stuff like that.
There are, yeah.
We're gonna make this better, but this is how we're doing it right now.
Yeah, I've viewed a rental where they had the smart lock on there. TCI management. There's a property management company around here, and they use those. So it is a thing. I don't know what they cost or how to work it, but
yeah. So, and that'll be more costs. Everything's always a cost.
Yep.
But
a little overhead.
But that saved us some of our time. So we get the place fixed up in 3 weeks. Throw the keys on there, put it on Zillow, and then when the people come, they just open the lockbox to do a walk to the house. And actually, just recently, after this one, I just realized I'm also gonna do walkthrough videos on all of them and just post that on Zillow, like as many points of reference that people can get an idea about it. as possible too. And that was probably a couple weeks before they moved in. For me personally, I probably give too much away, almost always. If they're close to the end of the month and they pay me a deposit, I just give them the keys. Mm-hmm. Like if it's the last week, if it's at the beginning of the month, I'll prorate them. Because I don't want them to live there for, I mean, I need to make money too, but if it's a week or a couple days and you pay me the money, I just give the keys. So it was like a week when I got them both units rented, but then I gave them both an additional week to just move in. So a little over a month, I paid one interest payment, and now I got people on there paying rent. With the way that it's structured, I go to Mino Lending to do my DSCR loans. We'll go over the prices for, it's just about to refinance, so I have all the final figures, and we'll go over those costs too.
So do you have to wait the full 6 months to refinance?
That's what I learned. You can, if you get a hard money loan, you can do it in 3 months. So I was buying, prior to these last couple houses, I had one set of money that I was rolling over continually, so it was also a loan. But if I had the cash because I just kept rolling it over. So I only knew that you can do it in 6 months. I found out by just having a conversation that it could be done in 3 months, and then I said, "Hey, I own multiple companies. It's one company, but it's multiple companies. The BRRRR Rentals is the real estate company. BRRRR Remodeling does the work to keep the employees separate from the business and not to hurt myself with liability if somebody gets hurt or something crazy happens."
Yeah.
And then I opened the third business, which I'm launching the coaching program out of. So I have these 3 businesses established. I said, if I just have cash and I give myself a loan, can I just refinance out in 3 months? And it's like, there's no thing saying that they can't. So
the DSCR lenders they want to know that the rental's cash flowing, right? That's what they're looking at. So you have to have like 3 months of seasoning, right? Let me see. And then just the thing on corporate structure, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know what some people do is first they have a trust, right? And they are trustees to that trust. That trust owns a holding company, and the holding company is typically in like Wyoming, because you can, or whatever it is, you can hide the registered agent that way.
So your name isn't on the paperwork when they pull it up.
Yeah.
For your address and things.
If you have an Illinois LLC, for example, and you're the registered agent, I could go onto the Illinois website and find your name and address or whatever. But if you do it through a Wyoming holding company that is owned by a trust, and that holding company owns your other LLCs, and that offers a lot more security, protection for the owner. And then there's tax benefits to having a trust, right? And all that stuff, and long-term benefits to a trust.
Passing it down to your children.
Yeah, so it's its own entity, it doesn't die, right? And so when it gets passed on, it's just the trustees change.
And then they have full control of the assets without
and there's not all the taxes and things, and that's like my very limited understanding of that right now.
Yeah, and I've tried to learn about it too, and I know it costs some money as well. So as hopefully sooner than later, because the business is getting more sophisticated, I'm trying to jump into that too, because I never had anything worth losing, but now I have some things.
Yeah, right.
You're already doing deals. Maybe a few flips, a couple BRRRRs, a few rentals under your belt. You figured out how to move a loan. But what if you didn't have to? I'm Daniel Baltazar, and I created Inner Circle for investors like you. People who are in the game and hungry for more, but tired of doing it solo. Before Inner Circle, I was grinding, trying to scale, trying to find private money, trying to stay focused. I knew I had potential, but I didn't have a circle. Then I heard one right piece of advice that led me to my first private lender, and everything changed. Now imagine, with your mindset and work ethic, surrounded by 10, 15, 20 other investors with the same fire, same markets, same goals, same level of grit. In Inner Circle, you'll get weekly one-on-one coaching and strategy sessions, weekly mastermind calls to share wins, ask for advice, and hear from expert guest speakers. A collective Home Depot Extra account with VIP access once we hit a group spend of $250,000. That's just $12,000 individually. Access to my network of lenders, marketing pros, wholesalers, and licensed services. A private group chat where we solve problems in real time. There's only 20 seats. This is for experienced investors only, those who have completed at least 2 flips and operate in Northern Illinois. It's $1,600 a month, and there's an interview process to make sure we're aligned. If this sounds like the missing piece in your business, hit the link and schedule a call. Let's go further and faster together.
Now you got to figure out how to do it. And then, so people say every 7 doors or every multifamily gets its own LLC, or every 10 doors, whatever. And that way, you know, you're reducing risk further. So if something happens in one of those units, and they say it's not a matter of if you get into
A lawsuit.
yeah, it's a matter of when in this business. You know, you're diversifying your risk even further, and so that this single family in Marseilles, what if something happens there, it's not going to impact your multifamily in Aurora or whatever.
Yeah, I need to do better.
Improvement, right? There's always room for improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's, and again, I'm not an expert in this. I'm not an attorney, not legal advice, just what I've heard.
For sure. But it's food for thought.
Yeah.
And something to be looked into.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Yeah, so a couple weeks, that's the price that we've spent so far. Other people are in there, and they're both paying $12.50 a month. And then at this point now, I just hit the 3 months, which was actually another thing that I learned over time by accident. I was like, initially, I thought it was the 6 months. So on day 6 months, that date, I begin the refinance process. But you can begin the refinance process and have it end the day that the date of maturity.
Okay, so you can get started ahead of time.
Yeah, because ideally, one of the biggest hindrance of, okay, if I have a system where I can acquire a house and get it for free, just with my work, because none of the money's, everybody's, I'm being lent the money, 100% financing for materials, labor, everything, and purchase of the home. So as quickly as I can do this is as quickly as I can grow. But if I have to wait, like every time I could shave off a week or any amount of time, that's gonna exponentially grow the business, right? So if the refinance takes a month, if I thought I had to start on the day 1 of 6 months, but I could actually already be done and moving on to the next property. Because you've got to get the money back, get another house under contract, and then go through that closing process as well. So it's every day that I can shave off of every one of these areas allows me to move that much quicker. So with that finding out, now I know I could refinance in 3 months. So I get the property done, I start the refinance in 2 months, I get the money back on the first day of the 3rd month, and hopefully have a house under contract that's already going through the process to spend that money again.
Yeah.
Most ideally.
That makes sense. Okay.
So that's kind of the system. And right now I just had an interesting thing happen. So far, I've only ever been in the middle of one refinance at a time. But a business is growing, more people have given me money, so I was just getting 5 loans at the same time. I'm purchasing 2 properties. I'm refinancing 2 properties that I'm finishing my BRRRR on. And there was a property that I had for 3 years that I refinanced to pull money out to put into some other properties. So 5 of these are happening at the same time. And once this goes through, I'm gonna call the lender and just debrief, because everything took longer than I thought. Which is important to know, because if I'm getting another house under contract waiting for this one to close to spend that money, I need to be very exact about these things, because you don't want, you need to give yourself buffers. I need to move quickly so I could spend the money as efficiently as possible, but not over leverage myself, put myself in a situation where the system has a hiccup or breaks, or
Yeah.
somebody gets their money late, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll have more information on that as these close. I'm going to debrief. How can I do this better? What part was my fault? What do I just not know? And then try to learn from there. Kind of a little side note. But so, all that being said, the 11th was the day I was hoping I would get the money back for this, which is the 15th now. I don't have the money back. It will be closed shortly. But so all that being said, here are the terms of the sheet that I'm kind of waiting on closing. So they ended up, this was something else that I learned. They comped it at 150. They appraised it at 150.
This property you got for $80,000, they appraised at 150.
Yes, I thought it was going to appraise for more, but what I just learned was the price that you pay for it affects the appraisal value.
Oh, interesting.
So even if I probably could have sold it for 170, 180, because I paid 80, that gave me a lower appraisal value, which I'm just learning.
I didn't know that.
So as I walked in, I kind of comped this super quickly because I had just I just went through a bunch of properties. I seen the condition of the property, I know the price, and I know the stuff that I see on the market. So without doing like I didn't go itemize all my expenses. I just knew that in a couple weeks I could remodel the property. And I was super confident with that. So I knew that regardless of whatever work I had to put in there, and like there's going to be some unforeseen things, the termite damage and stuff. Even with all that, I knew that I would get a decent price. So I expected it to comp higher, but in the back of my mind as I'm running these experiments, I know that I'm going to get my money back, which is most importantly because it's all borrowed. I need to get it all back.
Yeah.
And secondly, I knew that if it appraises lower, all that means is it's going to cash flow higher because they're going to give me a lower loan. Either I'm going to get a bigger chunk of money back right now, which is cool, or they're going to give me a lower loan and the cash flow is going to be higher because there's a smaller loan amount. So if that makes sense.
And they're lending more than what you need to cash out the hard money lender.
Yes.
And you're going to take that capital to do...
I'm going to pay him back. I'm going to take all the money that I put in the deal. Some of this money, he only gave me 75.
Yeah, then there's the rehab cost, 17K in rehab.
And that was on no interest credit cards.
Oh, okay.
Some cash for the down payment, $17,000 on no interest credit cards. So I was out of pocket like $10,000. And I'll get all that and pay off all the credit cards back.
Okay.
And then, so they're refinancing me back $112,500 is what I'm getting back.
$112,500 to pay off the hard money loan of 89. Hard money loan of 75.
Purchase price.
Yeah.
That's
everything here.
Yeah. And then plus the 17.
And the rehab. Those are the big.
Yeah. So that was 106.
Yeah. Okay. And then okay.
And then it was this plus it was the interest payments. But for the next 2 months that there's interest payments, the people are in there paying the payment. So I'm actually already ahead on that as well too. Yeah. They've paid more money than interest I've paid already.
They're paying utilities?
Yeah.
So you're cash flowing like $1,800 a month on this property.
At this point right now, yeah. Before the DSCR loan comes in.
Yeah, so that's my next question. Like, what does the monthly payment on the DSCR look like?
Yeah, and actually that's something, there's more fees included in this. Oh yeah, one more thing. Insurance costs. Which was like $150 a month.
Okay.
So let's say
my notes are getting messy, but that's okay. Because that's gonna be a recurring cost, right?
Yeah. But because once you get the tenant in there, they're gonna cover that, and that should, if you do it correctly, that's always gonna be covered. But while you're rehabbing the property, you have to take into consideration that you need to pay the insurance.
That's a holding cost, right?
Yeah.
Just like utilities and your interest payments.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then, so the interest rate they're giving me is 7.8, and I will say that I don't really know if the terms they're giving me are very good. I found them through a post. I was getting conventional. I got 2 properties. When I went to get my 3rd loan, because I had the 2 properties and I did so much repairs, they wrote stuff off and I no longer qualified to get loans. So I pivoted to DSCR. I went on some Facebook groups. I asked for a lender. I got in touch with these people. Since then, I've done all my loans through them. And I prefer, I like that I know them. I have a good relationship with them. I know they're going to try to answer my questions and push me through. Because I've had experience as a realtor where I'm trying to help somebody and their lender just isn't helping them. Or I know that sometimes getting a better deal is not worth the extra stress. So although I may be able to get a better deal, I like the company a lot. And since then, after doing deals with them, and I've actually gotten all the way up to the CEO of the company, who has been trying to help me along with the coaching program.
Oh, really?
So more so than even spending the money, they're just I like the people a lot, and they like what I'm doing, and they're trying to help me. So I don't really know how for the cost, but I'm a big fan of the company, and I'm willing to pay it because I know that they're going to do what they can to help me through the process.
Yeah, this relationship or this business is very relationship based, and so that's extremely important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So interest rate 7.8, and then this is what my new payment once everything goes, $1249.88, which essentially is 1 year.
Okay. Yeah. So it'll cash flow about $1250.
And then you're gonna it's not the pure cash flow because you have your capex and all those things like that. But even just $800, that's still putting $450 away a month for emergencies every month. And we just remodeled it.
Yeah.
So I know that I just went through the whole property. There's still going to be stuff to do, but there is no major expenses for a while. So let's say even just put $450 away every month, still cash flowing, pure cash flow, $800, which is super good. Most of my deals aren't like this.
No.
Again, I'm trying to.
I don't think a lot of deals are like that. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to continue to replicate this. And I'm really sorry that that it worked out where the guy was upset with me. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
But
because he's next door, right?
Yeah.
I wonder. We don't need to get into specifics, but
yeah, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's out of my control. They passed the background check, and I can't discriminate either. So
yeah. And they had the money to move in, so
yeah, yeah, it's weird. But nonetheless, so there's that, and then it gets down to some of the fees. Basically,
you have an origination fee, right, and stuff for the loan, wire transfer fee. They had to underwrite the property. Legal had to review stuff. Yeah, those are all.
And then they have the taxes and. So this is the total cost here. Basically, I usually say $10,000 for the refinance. That's the number I put in there. And I'm a novice in many ways, so I don't know if I purchased more expensive properties, that price is probably going to go up a little bit. But for the price range that I've been in, if I just say $10,000, that it just fits in there pretty well. So out of that. 106, now 10,000 on top of that.
Yeah, so this is your all-in cost,
yeah,
right?
This is what it's actually costing.
$116,000 to now own a property that's appraised for $150, and it's cash flowing for positively rented.
Yeah. So 116, they're giving me back the loan amounts for $112,500. So I'm down. This actually cost me $3,500 out of pocket, but actually I've cash flowed that amount of money from the 2 tenants basically.
Yeah.
So it's almost completely broken. And then walk into math skill suck right now. 38 in equity. So immediately up 38,000,
Yeah.
almost 100%, perfectly even, and then now cash flowing 800 a month moving forward.
With 450 going to a war chest for future.
Yeah, which
Problems.
stuff always comes in.
Yes. That's a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense from start to finish, right? It gives you like a better understanding of the process. And that kind of helps me too, because like what am I actually spending money? Usually, so depending on the condition of the property, if it's in pretty good shape, like you're not tearing down, like going and changing any of the mechanicals or tearing down walls or anything. Since the insurance has changed so crazily over the last couple of years, from the best of my understanding, many insurance companies won't insure rehabs. You have to get a specific one. So I have State Farm insurance, which is super good. They're usually right around $1,400 for my properties for the year. Once they're in pretty good shape or stabilized or rented or whatever. If I need to do like a full rehab, it's Foremost Insurance is the company that I've found that will do those, and it's around $350 a month. Is that for 3 months? Oh no, $350 for like around $350 for 3 months. Or even just say $400. A little over $100 a month, which I guess is about the same either way. So the holding costs usually just round up $150 a month for insurance. Utilities is going to be, if it's winter, you're going to have a high gas bill. Otherwise, you're going to have, 100, 150 a month for all 3 utilities, and then it's the interest payments on top of that.
When you're looking at rehab, are you evaluating it by like itemized, or like do an umbrella like $30 a square foot? Like when you
We walk the property.
Yeah.
And we like map out the square footage for the flooring. We just resided like 6 buildings in a row, so we're gonna say like basically I'm doing like $5,000-6,000 for siding to do the siding, and then wrap the soffit and fascia in aluminum. $1,000 for gutters, and this is specifically prices, and then we map out our weeks for payroll, however we have it structured at the time. Like right now it's $2,600 a week to pay the 4 guys. Again, me and my brother taking a low payment, and we're trying to restructure that and pay a little more coming forward.
Yeah.
So let me pull up one more thing real quick. I'll give you a look into some of the other deals. So like this is all the properties we have right now. That's what I own, what I owe on the loan, the interest rate, what they're appraised for. The equity breakdown just for me to track. And then this is kind of what the properties are bringing in. And this is, again, not pure cash flow, but everything from...
What do you mean by pure cash flow?
Money that you can expect to spend and not have to put back on it. Like, for example, if I'm making $200 a month on a property, I guarantee I'm going to have more than $200 in expenses. Or at least $200. I'm not making any money on that property, because if I spend that money, when things happen, I won't have the money again.
So this is after all that or before?
No, this is before all that.
Okay.
So a lot of these aren't cash flow super well. Let's see here. This one, 418 Peoria Avenue. This is a apartment building, a 5-unit building. So that one, that's carrying a lot of helping us move forward. This building, 449 First Street, that's also on Marcel's. That one was from the studs up. We were wrong about a lot of the prices. As we were moving forward, a bunch of unexpected things happened. But so this is interesting. We're making $78 a month. That's not a particularly good amount of money. That's going to cost us money in the future. But we hired our first employee during that one. It pushed the company forward, and I learned how to do a bunch of stuff. The opportunity cost for owning that property has made every other property so much cheaper because we just learned lesson after lesson after lesson in that property, and everything moving forward is going to be better. Also, the tenant that's in there, I had it rented. I posted it for $1,600, which would have been a little better, but she explained to me that she thinks that it would be irresponsible for her to spend that much. And I really like that she said that to me. And I was like, I would rather get less money from somebody who's gonna be responsible with their money. And I made the decision to rent it to her for cheaper, because I like that she's thinking about that.
Yeah, have a good tenant that's not going to damage anything and cost you money, right? So it all works out that way.
Yeah, and with the property as well, when we refinanced it, we took out more money than we put into it, which I had to pay for a bunch of other expenses that moved forward. So like, there's some of this, and then there's some of making $1,200 a month. So to give you an idea, it's not all like that, but we're getting more to it being like that and doing less work. And all of the money that's not that much, one, we have equity in the property, which in the future, either they're going to get paid off and they're going to just be cash flowing, or I'm going to refinance them to pull them out to purchase more properties or whatever the case may be. So as long as I can manage them in the meantime, that's kind of my strategy.
Yeah, it's the BRRRR strategy. And a lot of lessons to be learned for me in like the rehab estimating and all those business management things specific to having rentals and tenants, and like I had never even thought about like showing the property and how do you coordinate that. So
that's a pain in the butt. Trying to get that better. Yeah, but we're building systems for all that, and like I talked to you before, like, so this is something that I'm trying to work on after now. Like, I have too many ideas and not enough time to implement.
Yeah. What are your rocks, right? And then
I'm going to go through and systematize every single aspect of the business. So for walking through and doing the rehabs, there's lots of tools that are available, but I want a tool specifically for me. So we basically cookie cutter every project. Like I said, we either go Menards or Home Depot, whatever the closest thing is for us to drive, and then that's who's going to deliver the stuff to us. And then we do the same rehab every time. We do the same floors, we do the same paint color, we do the same appliances. So my thought process is I'm going to build an app for myself, and then when I'm walking a property, I'll choose Menards or Home Depot, whatever we're going to choose based on what's closest. Like for example, here in this room, and I can measure like 12 by 10, and then it'll do how much flooring we need by a SKU, how much paint we need, 2 coats of paint for the wall, put that in the SKU, how much trim we're going to need, put that in the SKU. Like we can make it, I think with the technology we have, if I do a little bit of legwork, I could do 12 by 10.
Just clicking stuff.
It will tell me everything that I need for this room. When I go in the bathroom, I want a new vanity, because like you buy a vanity, but you also need the sink drain, you need the P-trap, you need the faucet, you need the supply lines. So I want a vanity, I push vanity, it gives me the SKU number for all the things. So that's my thought process with that.
You have to integrate it to their website, because like what if
the stuff changes?
Yeah, out of stock, or they don't carry a certain part anymore.
That's true. But I guess they could, if they have something close, because my thought is, there'll be some stuff that's wrong that has to get fixed. But like we talked about with your dad's business, I want to get out of the day-to-day. I'm the only one, or my brother's the only one who knows like this, like what to order. Like I need to make it so simple that you push a button, it tells you what we order every time. Take this picture to Menards and get what's on the picture.
Yeah,
like it's right in front of you. So like,
and then if it's a different brand of paint but the same color, that should be okay, right?
And then then you can make your. Hopefully they're intelligent enough to make decisions like that. Put it down to the least possibility for a variable. Yeah, and
then worst case scenario, you got to answer a couple questions while they're at the store over the phone, not have to do the whole thing yourself. So.
Which is like we do delivery day. You're at the store for 4 hours. You buy $20,000 of material. it is a long experience.
Yeah.
You gotta walk through the entire store, get all the SKUs, get it linked up with the delivery desk. The first time that my brother and I were ordering materials and somebody was at a house working, we had an employee, I was like, oh my God, we're getting something done today.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting something done anyways, but like two things are happening at once.
Yeah.
But shopping is mindless work, and if we can set it up properly, my task shouldn't be walking around the store. I should be getting somebody to give me $100,000 or something, you know? Like,
yeah. So you need to be out there finding the properties, negotiating them, closing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're definitely going in a very positive direction. And your attitude towards learning the lessons as you go.
I'm trying to only do them once.
Yeah. Learn it, fix it, and then move on and systematize it. So
yeah.
I don't have a lot of questions right now. A lot of this makes sense. I learned a lot about DSCR loans today, and the timing and kind of what your interest rate looks like. And I'm going to try and wrap my head around during the underwriting phase, accounting for that, because that is the goal, right? Is to not have that hard money loan hanging out. So when you're underwriting, you have to keep in mind that your loan will change and what that's going to look like, and the cost associated with pulling that loan and things.
Yeah, because if you just went off of 70% and didn't take in the insurance, the utilities, and the biggest expense is just people letting you hold their money for a couple months. It costs charge you a lot for that.
Yeah,
reasonably so. I get to grow a business with none of my own money. I'll figure out a way to make it work. But those expenses add up quickly, and you need to execute appropriately. And as we go into more stuff and break down the business more thoroughly, I try to put not only, so with this gentleman here, he does the hard money loan and he's in first position loan. The other people that I borrow money from, I put it on, I have a 10-month schedule with him, and it's for this situation. Initially, I thought I needed 6 months, and then that gave me 4 months to fix problems before the loan came due. And now if I can get it done in 3 months, and also that's 7 more months to figure out how to solve this problem. Whether it's, because let's say you got to sell a property. Let's say it didn't go right, and now you need to sell it. So it's going to be at least, well, let's say 2 months to do the rehab. A month of figuring out my first strategy didn't work. Now I'm at 3 months. Put it on the market. 90 days to get it under contract. That's another 3 months. There's 6 there, and a month to get through the contract. That's 7 months to do a couple contingencies, and that still might not go right.
Yeah.
And to solve that problem, I have tried to give so much to the people who are giving me money that when something happens, and not if, when something happens, they will be understanding and do it. So I put him on the same program that I've talked to you about the other ones. Like, so a couple, after they lend me some money for some of my properties, then I flip a property for them at cost. So if he's got 3 months in a row of getting $650 for 4 months, then I do a property like this for him, he gets $20,000. And then we go back to him letting him use the money for me. And during that time, I don't really make any money, but my staff gets paid, and I build goodwill for an inevitable catastrophe. Then it's like, just let me fix this.
Yeah.
And then we'll get right back on schedule.
Yep.
So I can't say that I have everything mapped out, but I'm trying very hard to stack as many things in my favor that everyone is like, okay, we understand.
Shit happens. And that's the next book I want to give you after I finish reading it is The Go-Giver.
Please.
So I've listened to that one 3 times. I bought it, reading it, I'll actually read this one because I've only listened to it. That's be a quick read. It's a parable. It's a nice, easy story. It's fun to read. But you're already doing a lot of the go-giver stuff.
Yeah, but the more I can identify it and think
yeah, exactly. So,
do you for action steps? My brother mentioned this one because last time we talked. For as far as contractors go, like I said, I have an understanding of prices and I know what it costs me to do it because I have an in-house team. If you need to walk a property, my brother has been in the trades his whole life. He can help you with actual contractor prices. And as well, if you want to do a BRRRR, we can also line it up where we'll do the project. Okay. So in that case, I'm super confident that we can get very close to the price. And then you see, like, as we're doing this more, you'll see what it actually costs. So then when we underwrite your property, it's not going to be like, hey, how come you're not putting this fee in that we talked about for all the other ones? So you have your own understanding of it.
Yeah, I'd like to meet your brother and more about his experience and stuff. That'd be cool.
Yeah. For action steps moving forward, do you, we're kind of, you're moving forward to continue to put yourself in a financial situation. We're continuing the education, and I'm already mailing in if I see a property that might work for you, then I could potentially bring you these.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now.
So financially, what I need to do is roll a credit card that I have in my business that the grace period expired, and so it's now being charged interest. I want to roll that into a new 0% card. I have a hard credit pool that I want to kind of fall off. Yeah. And then once those two things are done, I'll do like some credit stacking, right? Apply for 3 cards at once, and I'll have 0% stuff to pay for all the rehabs and everything. Because when you do your DSCR loan, you can take some of that money to pay off the credit card, right? Like
everything. Because there's just money back to you.
Yeah.
So for me,
and it's based off of the valuation of the property and the rental income that it's producing, and not necessarily what you paid to fix it up and get people in there.
Yeah, exactly. If you buy it too cheap, they will potentially hurt your ARV, which if you were going to sell it, you could probably sell it for more. But either way, like as you've seen that one, I expected it to be a little bit higher, but I also am doing experiments, so I know some stuff's not going to go exactly how I thought.
Do you do some flips, or are you keeping everything?
We've debated going back and forth, but we've kept everything so far. And
then other exit strategies, I know we touched on this briefly, but there's LTR, which is essentially the BRRRR. And then for selling, like, you can go to market. You could also do like a lease option.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard really good things about lease optioning a property. It's basically like rent to own, right? Never done that, obviously.
I have a friend who was reaching out to me. He has not a long work history, and he was trying to, because he knows that I'm in real estate. And I give him an honest answer, and he's trying to figure out how to find a house. And then I was like, I can't help you. Like, you don't have rent history, but I've known him a long time, and I know that he's capable of paying for it right now. And after a couple of weeks, I was like, oh crap, I can just BRRRR a house, get all my money back, and then rent it on it too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do that for him too.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about lease options. And Pace has a video for systemizing rehab, and like, he has a video, and I don't know if I shared the Excel sheet with you.
I don't know.
Where he walks through a house from the front door to the back, all the way through it, only looking at one category. So it's only looking at the walls and the trim and stuff. He does it again looking at electrical, and then again looking at plumbing. And that way, he really systemizes, but he's also using some external contractors, and he wants to give all those contractors the same exact scope of work to bid on. But you're doing it in-house. And when they're doing the rehab, there's steps for what's done, and the first and last steps are cleaning. So when he's rehabbing and trash and stuff, everything that's not staying comes out. And then you have like a blank slate to go and do your rehab. You don't have things messy and stepping over tools and things. Like, you do one thing at a time. So we got a couple good videos on that.
Yeah, that is one of the things too, where as we move forward, we're going to actually we'll make more money because we're doing stuff twice. My brother has been a tradesman for his whole life, and I've built some skills, but not in the kind of like environment that he has, where it was kind of more structured. So he drives, like, he's trying to get it into our brain, the order, the proper order that we have to do stuff, and we're getting better and better at that. But you will notice like huge mistakes where you do something in the wrong order, and it takes you days or even a week of time to unconstruct and redo something over.
Yeah.
And if you learn the lesson, it's fine. You learned, but if you don't, then you can't keep doing that.
I should have an Excel sheet from Sub 2 that I can share, and it's in order.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Might save you a couple weeks.
Yeah, it adds up quick.
Okay, yeah, and this is great because all my knowledge is, it seems hypothetical because it's all been YouTube videos. So this is great seeing it, a real person.
Yeah, in your market.
In the market.
This is happening right now. We're about to refinance.
This is down the road from here.
Yeah.
This
it's a couple blocks from here, and is actively happening. We're about to finish the refinance.